good morning. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so I wanted to come on here to remind you that if you haven't watched the Training Scale webinar yet, please do, because the webinar is only available for one more day. And I think we had about 500 people come to the webinar live on Sunday, which was awesome. So if you came live, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming. I will put the link in the chat for you to watch the replay. If you haven't yet, let me just pop that in the chat for you. Here's the replay. So basically, one of the big points that I made in the webinar is that you are the trainer. And so even if you are in a lesson with a trainer, there's a big delay between the time when your trainer actually sees something happen, can explain it can formulate what they're seeing into words, can speak the words, you can hear the words, then you have to figure out what to do with your body in order to tell your horse what to do. So I would say that delay is probably like at least a minute, maybe 30 seconds. It takes time, which is why it is so important that you are a thinking rider. Like, you are the trainer. And that is what the training scale gives you. It gives you that framework. It gives you that structure. It gives you a plan. So I'll tell you a little story. I was riding Kensington, my horse, yesterday, and it was Monday, and he had Sunday off, and Mondays usually aren't our best days. And, I wanted to work on like some of the movements with him, but he just I got on him and he was just tight, and he was, a little bit like spooky at things. And I thought, okay, I need to follow my own advice. I need to focus on the training scale. And so I just went back and I focused on rhythm and suppleness and connection. I didn't worry about doing this movement or doing that movement. And it really does work. Like, the training scale does work. And it's so important that you understand it. So I see some of you are live. Give me a hello if you are live here watching. I am in California, and I just wanted to remind you to watch the training scale webinar because tomorrow's the last day. But I was also reading this book. So this is one of my favorite books by Udo Berger, The Way to Horsemanship. And so he starts out the book saying, riding is one of the most enjoyable human activities. For some, it is pleasant recreation. For others, it has become fiercely competitive sport. And yet for others, it is an art worthy of serious study. It is always a shame when it ceases to be pleasurable. And after all, what matters most is our love of the horse. We know how to treat them fairly. Horses reward us with their trust and obedience. So I think that's like really important to remember. First and foremost is we do this for fun. We love our horses, and we really want to find a way that we can communicate with our horses through kindness and understanding. And one thing I've found in training is that if you're having a problem, if your horse isn't doing what you want them to do, it's because they don't understand or physically they can't do it. Horses don't just say, no, I don't feel like it. There's always a reason behind it. And the training scale, it helps you break it down into those smaller steps. Like, I gave an example in the webinar about shoulder in. And shoulder in is like a more complicated movement, or working a little bit on straightness and collection. And so a lot of times people go and they start riding shoulder in and it falls apart, right? Like, their horse, like, they just can't ride a shoulder in. And then they get frustrated. And so the training scale helps you to analyze that. It helps you to understand, okay, like, I want to ride a shoulder in. It didn't work. And then you go through the checklist of the training scale to help you understand what you need to go back and fix. So hopefully that makes sense. Hi, Annie from Arizona. And then so Udo, he goes on to say, he says, we must know the how and the why, for knowledge always precedes ability. We all tend to believe that we know more than we actually do. It is a bad fault and more common in riders than in other mortals. So this is such a great book, but I mean, that really applies to the training scale, right? Because you need to understand why. You need to understand the system of training horses, and so that you know where you're going, and so that you know how every single ride you're like putting on that foundation for you and for your horse. So anyways, let me know if you've had a chance to watch the webinar. If you haven't yet, the link is there for you in the chat. And yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into putting together that presentation. I know it helped a lot of people, and I think that it will help you with your horse as well. So hope you have